straight into the conversation of the day. Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Umo Eno marks 2 years in office next month, and from his activities since assumption of office, supporters would believe documentations abound of his efforts so far to accomplish the Arise Agenda template. It is pertinent to meet these performances eye to eye and perhaps hear from the one person charged with the salient task of documenting most, if not all, of these activities by the governor. We often hear that government is a continuum. Has this reflected in the current administration? Is the governor of the state managing the resources of the state optimally? And can he be trusted to continue in this job with the many reactions that have been in public space for and against the subject matter? Let's see if we'll find these answers. The Senior Special Assistant to the Akwa Ibom State Governor on Research and Documentation, Dr. Esian Ndweso, joins us live on Niger Delta Today. Dr. Ndweso, you're welcome on Niger Delta Today. It's good to have you in the program, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Xavier.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Well, let's start from the very recent one, which is, of course, the announcement by the governor about how he would want his birthday to be celebrated. That has been the conversation around, and this is the same template he adopted last year, saying that he would rather prefer his birthday to be celebrated with the less privileged, the needy, visiting hospitals and all of that. Well, what do you think the governor hopes of achieving with this?
It's not I think it's very simple and logical. That is who the governor is. I can still remember vividly before the elections when people were saying, oh, the governor, then he was a PDP governorship candidate. And they say, oh, the PDP governorship candidate's humility is only make believe for the optics, just to convince people and get votes, that after election, all of those will be over. But those of us who knew the governor even before he ventured into public service knew that Pastor Umo Eno has always been a very humble person. And last year when he announced that his birthday should not be an object where people used to go into unnecessary spendings, rather should channel all of the monies, all of the funds, all of the gift items towards charity. It was only accentuating what he has always practiced even before he ventured into public service. Pastor Umo believes that life can make more meaning if one's life is of impact to other people, especially those who are not privileged. There's a difference between giving someone a gift item because he needs it, and and giving someone an item because you expect something in return by way of favor. And so it's not a surprise that this year he has adopted it, and that's the trend for the next 6 years. It will be in the saddle, and even beyond that, when he goes out of this phase of his life. The governor is very real. People can now believe that, yes, indeed, all of that humility that we're seeing in him were actually like a second skin to him.
But there are still comments that even at what we're seeing currently, there could still be pockets of issues as regards the true personality of the governor. Some people still think that it is still make-believe.
No, there's nothing make-believe there. I think our people...
Maybe because he needs to get to the ticket for the second term.
I mean, if it was that, I mean, why is it not happening elsewhere? We've seen things in other parts of the country. We've seen leaders who are in the saddle. We've seen those who were pretending to be humble, and once they became, the hell sway. Things took a turn, and we now saw the real. It's always said that if you want to test a true measure of a man, just arm him with power. He has a power, he has a knife, and all of everything. You will say, okay, now let's go, let's see. But it's not possible. You see, in some of these reality shows that the young people watch on TV, where some people are housed for a couple of months, so that they can exhibit their true color. You see people try as much as possible, pretending first week, second week, by the third week, and they won't be able to hold back again. So if people are still doubting, then they should listen to the testimonies of the downtrodden on the streets, those who have benefited from his compassionate gestures, those who have benefited from the compassionate homes. These are initiatives that have not been thought of before is not heard of anywhere in this country since we became a country, or in modern civilization. And we've not had that. A governor went around when he sees where houses are not welcomed, decides to intervene, provide houses for those without shelters, and even goes as far as providing amenities for those houses. Those are unheard of. We've been to places where he went for commissioning of a project that he executed, and while commissioning the project, he spots a house that is not very, so that house needs to also have our, our touch and all of that. So this is the kind of governor we have. It's not any make-believe. Before now, you'll see that once it comes to birthday, I think you had this same experience under the Middle Past governor, Umo Eno, when he also had announced that nobody should celebrate his birthdays on newspapers, should rather channel to orphanage. And recently, the governor that took over from him is also of that same school of thought. And there's something pretentious about it. People would rather want to go to the newspapers, and you know how much it costs to publish one page of an editorial on a newspaper to congratulate the governor on his birthday. It could cost as much as 1.5 million naira, 1.2 million naira. And imagine how much life can be impacted if that money is channeled into an orphanage. Imagine you going to an orphanage now with even a lesser amount of money, food items, cake, celebrate with the less privileged. Let them have love. These are people who don't have homes, people who don't have shelter of their own. They are all staying, with strangers. And they don't have that natural love that they would have had from their own families. So the governor wants you to go and be a family member to those people during his birthday. He is just using that as an indication of how much he wants people to be caring, to show love, and how much he loves Akwa Ibom State to be united.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate the fact that you were able to clear up the stance on the governor as not being trying to put up a public face, but that's actually his person. Now, let's bring it down to your office. In recent times, there have been some allegations here and there. To clear up these allegations, what exactly is your office doing to make sure the public has access to government records, ranging from budgets, project updates, and procurement records?
No, it's not really necessarily about my office. It's we're talking about the information management team of the government of Akwa Ibom State. It's headed by the Honorable Commissioner for Information, talking about the Right Honorable Elder Anekan Omana,
and
the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Kerry. Though I'm also in that team, and of course you still have the SSA to the Governor on Media and Publicity, and ATA Hussein. And of course the SSA to the Governor, Lagos Liaison. All of us, the Press Secretary, Ministry, we are all part of that team. Okay. And we work hard every week to make sure that avenues are there for people to have unfettered access to information on what the governor of Akwa Ibom State is doing. The governor has actually given us that as a first line of charge. First, that we must make sure people of Akwa Ibom State are abreast with developments in the state. That is a that's a directive, and that's some of the reasons you see. Once you give a call to us to be on programs like this, we don't hesitate. We just come up and make ourselves available. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, while at the retreat, the ESCO retreat in Lagos, we had the Commissioner for Information making presentations on some more things that are coming up by way of feedback mechanisms for Akwa Ibom people to be able to have more unfettered access. For example, he is reintroducing what he calls the Citizen Center at the Ministry of Information. Before now, when he was a commissioner, and up to even when we had Mr. Charles Udo as a commissioner for information, we had a citizen center at the Ministry of Information there, where any citizen of Akwa Ibom State could just walk down, go get facts on whatever he wants to make inquiries on. And there were also phone numbers. But this time around, he's going a step further. He's going to make it even much more responsive and reactive, so that people could get in real time whatever updates they want about government. So it is a team thing. It's not about my office. As a matter of fact, the office I operate in research and documentation is actually under the office of the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Kerry Udo. So we work together, and there's nobody that can come out and complain that he's not able to have access to the information managers of this government in terms of whatever information he wants. And as a matter of fact, we also have a governor who is making our job a lot easier, because on a daily basis he churns out projects. If we were to say, okay, let us use April to just inaugurate projects or flag off projects, then every single day of the month will be used on the road to do either inauguration or flagging off of projects, because the governor really has enough. Just recently, he updated what he had as priority projects for the state for 2025, from 31 projects to 47 projects. And all of those turnkey projects, he has assured the funds are available and is executing them for the benefits of Akwa Ibom people. So I don't think there's any issue when it comes to seeking information. Where you ask for any information on something, and you're not given at that particular time, whoever you're asking will tell you, okay, just hold on, let us get the actual figure you want, and then
all right.
I mean, you're going to have it.
Okay, Dr. Ndweso, well, that reminds me of a message from the governor a while ago regarding who is permitted to speak authoritatively on behalf of the governor or the administration. He said the secretary to the state government and I think the chief press secretary are supposed to be responsible for giving out statements on behalf of the governor. Well, that wasn't entirely clear. Does that mean that information is restricted? What was the message the governor was trying to put out there with that statement?
What the governor emphasized was the fact that the governor of Akwa Ibom State, the government of Akwa Ibom State has official communication channels through which information is relayed. You have the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Information, the Honorable Anekano Mana. He is one. Then you also have the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor. So the Commissioner of Information signs messages or releases messages about the state, about the government of Akwa Ibom State, while the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor releases messages on the governor himself. And then you also have the SSG, who also releases messages or information regarding major actions or policies or appointments by the governor. Of course, you still have the head of civil service, who also issues releases bordering on the civil service. So those are channels, because this governor is ensuring that there must be decorum in a state in terms of what comes out and how things are harnessed. So sometimes you have information being issued in a way that it becomes distorted in the process of being released, and it ends up being catastrophic, causing disorder in the system, and that is not right. Those who are armed with the right tools of communication are the ones mentioned, the Information Commissioner, the Chief Press Secretary, and they will use these tools and use the actual cues to release the messages so that they don't end up being misinterpreted by the populace. The essence of information is to feed and energize and get people abreast with development, and not to distort or cause disorder. And that is why that decorum is needed. And it's not a problem at all.
But does this affect your responses on the program today?
There's nothing. I'm talking about press releases. What I'm doing here is to clarify or to accentuate or to just relay things that have happened in Akwa Ibom State and things that this government is doing in Akwa Ibom State.
Okay, that was just to get clarity. Well, recently the Vice President was in the state and he was around to launch the Arise Human Capital Development Strategy by the state government. We want to know what that program is really about. We understand it's also in tandem with the local government areas in the state. Could you shed more light on that particular visit by the Vice President and how significant it was to the state people?
The program, the government of Akwa Ibom State has a lot of programs that are aimed at ensuring that people who actually deserve to get abreast, or who actually deserve to be empowered, energized, to be more useful to themselves, equipped and charged. And that he showed even before he became a governor of Akwa Ibom State, where he had the Ibom Ignite project. He had, so many projects from his table at his private capacity, all aimed at ensuring that. And that is what he kept preaching all through the time he was campaigning. He had terms like the low-hanging fruit, you had terms like connecting the dots, you had terms like MSMEs and all of that. All of this is because he believes that rather than just depending on the large industries for employment, the young people should be empowered, should be equipped with small businesses that they can use and develop themselves, and of course develop those next to them, and of course equip them so that they, if you're empowering like 10 people now, those 10 people will go set up their own shops and possibly employ 5 others. And so you have over 500 people multiplying from those 10 businesses in one fell swoop. And then those 500 will also go, and in that way you see every place. So the government believes much more in a small, medium-scale enterprises development. That's why you see him. One of the first things he did was to go to where you had the moribund e-library along IBB to go establish the Leadership Entrepreneurship Development Center, and that is where all of the incubation is done when it comes to getting people to be acquainted with business managerial skills, and also getting set up in businesses. That itself complements the Dakar Skills Acquisition Center, which is also doing the same thing. So everything you want as far as details is concerned in all of the programs that this government is doing, I mean, if you just go there, even to get to participate, because sometimes you have people coming out of this, coming out in this state to come out and fault the processes of getting people empowered, and they say, oh, it's based on favoritism, whereas it is not so. I said repeatedly that people are always selected. Now the government has said that everyone in Akwa Ibom State should get enrolled in the employment portal of the state, and any empowerment program that is being done by the state governor or the government would come from those who are in the pool, in that pool. So if people are not registered, are not in that pool, then unfortunately they will not benefit. And then another thing is that if you benefit from one scheme, you're not likely going to benefit from another, because this thing is supposed to go round to everybody. And that's why you see so many people, when some schemes come out and they say, oh, this is how much is available, they will decline from participating, and then wait for the big ones. So there's different schemes, and that was just one of them. I had the vice president coming to fly, and there are so many of them. As we speak right now, in the next 2 weeks, the governor will be in Okanafun local government area, a venue for the Okanafun Rogan Federal Constituency Town Hall meeting. And the governor's definition of town hall meeting is that it should not be just limited to few selected people that will come out and have access to the governor. It should be open to everybody, and that's why he changed the concept from town hall to town square. And so all roads will lead on 29th of April to Kanafun local government area headquarters, Ikola Bangkok, and at that venue, you don't just see the people of Kanafun and Orogonam coming out to give the governor the needs documents. You also see them coming out to get to benefit from another round of empowerment that the governor is providing. So that is what we are having, and I mean, they are actually still going to come in droves, many more empowerments. Okay. People will not be able to even quantify or calculate.
All right, thank you so much. You made it clear that Governor Umo Eno's administration is people-centric, and the governor has been working hard, especially with this town square meetings and interactions with the people. Now, as your office, is it possible that you back up the governor with a kind of research to get public perception and feedback, so you can know what the public is actually saying? Because most of the time, the people you really want to hear from, they don't have access to air their views during this town hall meetings or town square meetings. So is there any form of research to make sure that public perception is heard to make adjustments and reviews of this administration?
Not just actually what we do on my own part is that we go around the states, okay, take feedbacks, and then we get those feedbacks to the appropriate channels. For example, today, as I leave this program now, in fact, this program is what is keeping me still in here today. At this point in time, I should be in Okanafun. Okay. Every time the governor goes to a place to commission a project or to have an event, we go around there, get to talk to people around, the community leaders, the royal fathers, the people on the streets, get all their opinions, and then we give feedback appropriately, so that by the time the government comes to that place, they're already aware of everything, and where there are plans for them, of course, those will be revealed. Those are, they are given. And then I've also told you already that not just from my own stable, that even the Ministry of Information is establishing a citizens feedback center where people will always have all of their programs, their opinions documented for government action to be taken. So all of those things are there, and they're happening regularly. So I think in the next 4 or 5 hours, you'll see what people are saying when we go to Ukanafunaruna. That's just an example of what we do, and it is not. It's not also anything I would say is just for the cameras.
Well, Dr. Ndueso, 3 constituencies, federal constituencies so far, have been visited by the governor. We understand that he's going to continue all through the 10. So far, the 3 that the governor has visited, what has been the polls? What has been the feedbacks from the people of these federal constituencies? Do they think that it's a good initiative? And we understand that there's a needs document that is usually presented at the end of all of these outings. How is the government planning to implement the specifics in these needs documents, and is there a time frame for these implementations?
What happens is that the governor has gone to Abak. He went to Abak first. Abak has been very, very lucky. That's always more or less the first port of call in anything. Possibly because of how God blessed them, the people of Abak, with having their local government area come with the first letter of the alphabet, A. But the governor went to Abak, then he went to Oron Federal Constituency, and then he went to Ikorebene. So we've seen him go to 3 places. And we are also aware that each place that he went to, the people of those communities went and turned the event into celebration, into carnivals. Celebration of good governance for what the governor has done. Celebration of good governance for the novel initiative of meeting people and feeling their pulses. And then, of course, having them to be part of the budget. And that takes me to the other leg of your question, which is the issue of the needs document. The needs document is not meant to achieve any other purpose than to have the people of each local government area, each federal constituency in Akwa Ibom State have input in the budget that will be used to spread development in Akwa Ibom State further in 2026. It means that the needs document contains the requests of each of the units in the federal constituency for their respective local government areas. And the governor is going to use that needs document to formulate his policies and programs, projects for the next fiscal year. And that's what will be used in the budget. So there's no fear about that. That's why the budget itself has already been tagged the People's Budget 2026. And so that's what is happening now. That's the fallout from this town hall meeting. So there's no fear. Obviously, he will not be able to, government cannot do everything, but it will take priorities. If you have 5 projects in your local government area that are priority projects and the government takes 3, I think it's right, because it's going around 31 local government areas and 369 wards, all of them yearning for projects. And so when you see a governor who didn't promise compassionate homes, he didn't promise all of those basic models, healthcare centers, models, schools during his campaign, but he's doing them. He's doing roads across all the local government areas of Akwa Ibom State. He's completing roads that were initiated by his predecessors in office before now. Not minding who takes the credit, he's completing projects that were executed beyond roads, other projects, turnkey projects in the state. If you have that kind of governor coming to your local government area and he's already doing the things you didn't ask him to do, he didn't promise he would do, then it means that you don't need to come and start doing a looter. Sometimes people believe that when you go to a place and then people are not rioting, are not shouting. People thought, okay, it should be like if he goes to a bar now, people will say, hey, Mr. Governor, you are here today, and we want road, we want this, hey, greatest of the greatest, and so on. That's not how it works. It's not going to work that way. If yearning and doing a looter, doing showmanship, it's not achieving results elsewhere, and must we apply it here? So the governor is working and you didn't even ask him to. You were not the one to ask him to come and meet you. He decided on his own to say, I want to come and meet you and know what you have. So you write it down and give him. And once he has it, he's reading it, you don't need to stand again and echo what you have written already, because the purpose is for these things to be in the budget. It's only when the budget for 2020, and don't forget, the governor has said repeatedly that instead of allowing others to do the job of writing budget. Because most times what you see elsewhere is that, you have some relevant ministries, Ministry of Economic Development, Department of Budget, and they will just sit down use the same template that has been used since 1960 to formulate a budget for the state. And when the budget is passed, the governor looks at it, he doesn't see things that actually are in line with his agenda for the state. And so most times you see budgets implemented.
Okay.
But in this case, the governor sits down himself and makes sure that his projects are listed, and the people's clamors are also listed. And then in the end, you see what we had last year. It was a massive record. Way over 79% was given to the state government in terms of implementation of budget. And that is the same thing that will happen this year, and that is even better what will happen next year in the state.
Okay, now you made mention of the fact that the governor actually does the need of the people even before they ask. Now, there are some quarters where some rumors have arisen that these projects being implemented are kind of settlements for certain contractors who the governor finds in his favor. That is why these implementations are going on without asking of the people. Can you clarify that?
No, there's no project. I don't agree with that. I didn't also remind you that even before these town square meetings that are ongoing, the governor has a scheme which he calls one project per local government area, where communities in a local government area have the stakeholders meet and decide on which project they want in their locality. Where they want the model school, whether they want a model healthcare, private healthcare center, or they want roads. So these people sit down, decide the project, and also decide the location.
Okay,
and
on behalf of the people.
And also decide where they want, who they want to handle the project. We've seen severally that people are the ones that nominate a project, and even who they want to execute a project, because that's how the governor operates. If you get people to buy into any scheme, it works like magic. And that is how he's operating. There's no issue of saying the governor has interest in who executes the contract. What the governor wants is the contract, a project to be executed. Last year we sat down, there was a courtesy call, I think my real fathers in the state, and the governor was, they were talking to the governor, and they were discussing some of the issues in the state, and then the issue of the airport roads, the road from the airport to Nsretai came up, airport to Okobo came up. And then the real fathers, they said, that they want HENSEC to handle that project. And the government said, okay, if that's what you want, you have it. And that also brings up this other issue of the issue of bidding in Akwa Ibom State. There's a procurement act for the state, and the government follows it meticulously in executing projects in Akwa Ibom State. It's a system where there are projects where there are open biddings, and then there are projects where the government considers the urgency and decides that you could also adopt another approach.
How open are those open biddings?
There's a process known as the selective bidding. Okay. Where the government says, okay, there are three, let's get a couple of contractors, ask them to bid for this project, and from among them you select one person. That is different from the open bidding, because the open bidding itself also has its own limitations, has its own demerits. For example, if you bid openly, it takes a longer time for the process to be completed. And then it's also the issues of litigation that could arise from open bidding, where if someone now, for example, now if a project is bidded, is called for bidding, and then someone in Sokoto bids for that contract, and clearly his bidding his own proposal is better, but you're not sure who he is, because you don't have his you don't have record of his antecedents. You're bound to. If you don't, then he could sue you. There could be some litigations, and that will still delay the project. And beyond that, open bidding also means that you have to publish, in the newspaper possibly for a month, and all of those. And when you consider the fact that we are in a terrain where we are not favored by rainfall, you could just spend the whole year doing the open bidding, and then lesser time, and before you know it, that fiscal year has come to an end, and you now have to start putting it in the next budget and all of that. So these are things that were carefully thought of, and the government wants projects to be executed, and so he adopts the other leg, of that same procurement act that says there can be selective bidding, where those who have record and are based in the state. Now sometimes you can award a contract to a company. I know you're aware of a project along Ibiakuran where a company was awarded a contract, and even though it was mobilized to even get its equipment down to the state took another long period, and then in the end we saw that the company did not have competence to execute that project. So all those things are avoided when you apply the selective bidding process, as we are doing now, and that's why you're seeing records everywhere. Just last 3 weeks, the governor was at the place doing a and look at the excitement now. If you go there, you see the progress made at that road project. You see that the governor has also completed so many projects. You see the Ikoramba road at Obunokara local government area with a bridge. All of that is executed. Oh. And you see that the president of the country had given assurance that he will be in this state next month. Well, Doctor. And we are going to see more projects commissioned by, in this government.
So you mentioned the Biakuran Road, and one of the complaints, we had spoken to some of the contractors there, and they said so one of the complaints was that the release of funds were the issue payments, yes, of them stalling completion of that road. And I wonder where the status of that road is currently.
Yeah, that road was re-awarded by this government, and the project is ongoing. You see, sometimes when people complain, the same template that is used on Project A, the same template that is used on Project B. And so if this Project A contractor is complaining, how come B is not complaining? Sometimes you have B contractor finish his job, get another job, finishes it, get another one. This one is still complaining.
Maybe
that's simple. It's a simple truth. Now, it's not just that. It's not that actually. Okay. I am a media professional. Okay. I could be asked now, go and cover an event. I'm supposed to have a camera because I'm a media professional. I will not wait until I get money, and then I go and start buying camera, and then I start looking for people that will come and operate the camera. If I'm who I said I am, then I should be able to go to that place and cover that event. And then based on the progress, because every project has its timeline, except from point A to point B, takes 20% of the contract funds. From B to this, if you don't complete from A to B, because you are supposed to use the money for A to B to use and buy equipment or to rent equipment, then you are not able to get to point B where the next payment is supposed to come. Then they're not going to pay you. That is how it's done, because the project has a valuers. They have monitors. Like the governor is doing now, we have in the Ministry of Works, those who are project monitors, and they are on a daily basis on project sites across the state to evaluate and give reports. Then we also have, I'm a member of the project monitoring team of the government. And so we also go to project sites, look at the state of the project, look at the progress, and then we record and give reports. And if the reports do not favor the project on ground, then you're not going to get reimbursement to continue.
Well, Doctor, what are the issues where the contractors say that they've actually completed the quarter of the road that they are supposed to complete, and they still do not get the payment?
No, there's no such case. As I'm speaking to you now, I'm telling you that the duty of monitoring is not just in the Ministry of Works. It's also in the governor's office, and we are members of that project monitoring.
All right. Well, the project Light Up Akwa Ibom. Recently, we've seen a facelift in the evenings in Uyo and the environs. What is the initiative all about?
Yeah, the governor has promised, is making Akwa Ibom State to be a destination of choice with all of the turnkey projects that we're having here, trying to make Akwa Ibom where people would love to come. And when people come to the state, they always expect that they will go out in the evenings, go around and familiarize. Especially if you have a state like Akwa Ibom, where people are so hospitable and so accommodating, people have to go out. It's not nice to have people going out and then they can't see their way around. And so that's why the governor is trying to re-engineer the process of lighting the streets. The system we had before was quite expensive, cost intensive. We have to fuel diesel, but now we are having those street lights that are solar powered, and these solar powered are not the kind of solar powered street lightings that we had before, where before you know it, people will come in and vandalize those solar lights and remove the batteries and so on. Now you're having those ones that are inbuilt, and so nothing can happen. So it's a very nice initiative just to continue accentuating on the fact that Akwa Ibom is a destination of choice. And don't forget that we're also planning to have the Ibom Arise Park commissioned next month, and all of this will attract more visitors to the states.
Thank you, sir.
Senior Special Assistant to the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Dr. Esiandoi. So thank you very much for coming on Niger Delta today. We hope your task of research and documentation gets easier, and we see more rewards for the Akwa Ibom people.
Thank you so much. I think all the accolades should go to the governor, and I think I could also leverage on this platform to say happy birthday in advance to my boss, the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Dr. Umo Eno, as he marks 61 years of Planet Earth tomorrow.
Well, that's the size of Niger Delta today. Many thanks for staying tuned on the program. My name is Xavier Robert, and I'm wishing you a terrific afternoon. Remember to follow our activities on all our social media platforms, all of which you can find on our website, adbntv.com. We'll have a terrific day.
And I am Awero Swogene Ebo. Do enjoy the rest of our programming. Bye.